Well, speaking of shit that has no parameters, would you like to talk about the women's title match with Toni Storm and Kris Statlander?
Yeah, I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Well, my thoughts are that it was still going 20 fucking minutes after they started the thing. They started with the Toni Storm style Hollywood video, and I determined that that was a good place to make up time. And I fast forwarded 20 minutes and they were still fucking going. And the part that I saw was that they German suplexed each other, but each one of them just popped right up and neither one sold it. And then Statlander clotheslined her and hit her with a kind of a tombstone maneuver that's not, where she picks her up at a tombstone position, but then goes forward and slams her on her back, and inverted upside down Styles Clash, whatever. Does that paint the picture in people's minds if they don't know what I'm talking about?
Kind of, yeah.
Okay, so she hit her with that deal, and then Statlander did a head scissors, an old-fashioned head scissors on Toni Storm in the middle of the ring, and was cranking it, as you should, working the hold, and Toni Storm was struggling, and Statlander was keeping it, and Toni Storm was waving her arm and struggling. And I'm thinking, boy, after almost 20 minutes of match or whatever, they've made a curious decision to just slow down and become completely immobile here in the ring at this point. And after 1 minute and 20 seconds of being in the head scissors and completely immobile, Statlander let her go, picked her up, and gave her the same move she'd just given her before, the inverted Styles Clash. 1, 2, 3. What in the actual fuck is going on here? And then they hugged each other.
Of course.
And Toni Storm left.
She didn't even have to give her a wad of cash like Jack Perry tried to do with the Young Bucks.
Toni Storm was their star. And I'm using the term was now because that's apparently that relationship is coming to an end, at least with the fans, if not the office. But I can understand if they turn somebody strong heel and that person came in and upset Toni Storm, but Statlander, is she a heel? Is she a baby face? We don't really know. I don't think she knows. This whole thing started with a four-way fucking match. And then, regardless of what it is, you have a match on pay-per-view where a woman or a man gave the opponent a move, got a stationary hold on him for almost a minute and a half, picked him up and gave him the move again and pinned him 1, 2, 3. That's kind of as flat as you can fucking get. And then they hug each other because Toni Storm's like, well, yeah, okay, I guess I'm a piece of shit. Like she Vadered herself. Oh, here, I'll hug you. Who gives a shit? And she's gone. And then they play music, and Mercedes Moon comes out with the job guys wearing all of her outlaw title belts, and she stripper dances to the ring and gets the microphone and tells Statlander to get out of her ring, and she does.
That was the surprising part. Not that the heel said that, but the babyface has to do something. Babyface can't leave when the heel says that, and she just walked right out.
Oh, yes, she can, because she did. With kind of put her head down and like, why I oughta, and turned around and left. Like a whipped puppy. And so I don't understand how that, by that line of logic, Mercedes Moon ought to just wipe her feet on Toni Storm's face. Because she just completely verbally punked out the person that just beat Toni Storm. And then she cut a promo and saying she was Ultimo Moan now. Brian, how many people in the United States today do you think understand this whole Ultimo Guerrero 30 years ago had 10 belts thing?
I think the most important person does, Tony Khan.
Could it be more than a couple of 100,000 that maybe are still alive when they were watching wrestling at that point in time?
I think it's to the point where anyone who remembers any of this from the 90s who was not a fan of Japanese wrestling, just picked up on it like from WCW, may not even remember which wrestler had all the belts.
Do they know Ultimo Guerrero from Juventud Guerrero?
Well, no, there's not really.
Or
Ultimo Dragon and Ultimo Guerrero are two different people.
Oh, I will see there, and there's another one.
And Ultimo Guerrero is not, I don't believe he's related to Juventud Guerrero.
Well, then who's Ultimo Dragon related to? Because he got to be related to somebody or they wouldn't have given him 10 belts.
That's Asai, isn't it?
Well, I'll see you later. Is Asai related to Ishii?
I opened myself.
See, these
up
are
for
questions we have. See, this whole thing, she's a mark in her mind. Nobody's ever heard of these obscure, small, independent girls' promotions that she's going around and apparently giving them a break on the price to what?
I don't think it's girls' promotions. I think it's promotions that have girls' matches, but, you know, just like AEW or WWE now.
Girls' belts, girls' titles. The point is they're small, independent, obscure, whatever, but she's probably even given them a break on her rate since Tony Khan's paying her. And she gets to win their belt because it's a big deal to her to hold all these belts that mean nothing. So now and she says, who's next to challenge me? And out comes Mina Melons. They added a match, and it was a Mercedes Moan match. And now that's 3 girls' matches in the first 3 hours, 2.5 hours, this goddamn marathon pay-per-view. And I fast-forwarded another 20 minutes, and they were just then finished. You had, in the middle of what people paid for, between Mercedes and Mina and Storm and Stat, it was a goddamn Lifetime movie for 45 or 50 minutes on this thing.
I thought the Mina Monet match was pretty good.
Mina Monet?
No, not Mina Monet. The Mina I was just using without versus Monet.
Mercedes Melons match is what you're saying.
No one would say that. We would say Mina Melon. We wouldn't say that either. We'd say Mina Shirakawa versus Mercedes Monet.
Well, if it wasn't a melon, it was sure a lemon.